Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria 3, where things are looking a bit up for us at this point. We're very close to passing dedicated police force, and the modernists want us to petition, or rather are petitioning, for public schools to pass. We're gaining money at this point. We did declare bankruptcy, so that's, a little bit painful for us. But mostly that's not that big of a deal for us at this moment. That migration attraction doesn't actually change anything. We don't have any anyway. We're not fighting. We don't have interests. So this is all completely fine. Institution size change speed is rough, of course. That's the reason why this is taking so long to work its way up. But we're not in any huge rush on that. So that seems absolutely fine for now. So now what we need to do is get dedicated police force to pass. In about 80 days, we've got a 71% chance of that. And that looks pretty solid. Population-wise, we're at 136k, growing by over 4k annually now. Ooh. That's new. I believe it was like 3.77 last I looked. Nice. So that is very, very good. We want to continue to grow that 1,000%. There's a native uprising in the Great Plains. Okay, that's against the US. There's not too much that we can do about that. For right now, that is what it is. But I want to check in here. So 4.13, and I'm just looking as each day goes by. We're definitely getting a pretty hefty growth here. No doubt about that. So that's going up nicely. We need that to go up a lot more, though. We're still number 233 globally in population, and that needs work. In terms of GDP, we're pretty down there, and that's mostly because we just don't have people to put to work. That's the primary issue right now. Our GDP per capita isn't fantastic either. It's 1.19, and I feel like it should be a little higher than that, but we'll get there. A lot of that has to do with just law changes and industrialization, so that is reasonably fine for now. In here, I want to take a look at how our industrialists are doing. 4%. That's a big improvement. Okay, so we need to get them up above 5%. Once they're no longer marginalized, we should be able to do from farms to factories. And that'll trigger the event Road to Progress. And that is absolutely a huge deal for us. So we're very delighted by the industrialists apparently actually improving. We rolled an advance here. That's a little sad. Member flight from the modernists, but the 15% enactment success chance. We want the modernists to have more interest group attraction, so we're going to take this. That brings us up to an 86% chance, 0% chance of stall. The only thing that can happen here is a good event. Well, there's still 0.5%, I suppose. It rounds down to 0, apparently. So that's good to know. That's absolutely fine for now. We do need to deal with our standard of living issue here. No doubt about that. What's going on with our standard of living in Wisconsin? It's only 5.9. I mean, they're paying a lot of their income in taxes, and that's understood. Our tax laws are terrible right now. Dropping turmoil penalties would be a big benefit for us. There's a huge amount of tax waste. If we go in here, we can see... I don't think... Are we actually getting any penalties from tax waste, though? Does tax waste apply to consumption taxes? I'm not 100% convinced that it does. Interesting. We're still struggling economically. There's no doubt about that. But we're working on it. The primary reason, to be clear, why we're struggling economically is because of this. We don't quite have this fully outfitted yet, and that's eating up the majority of our gains from population growth. So that's absolutely understood. That said, our GDP just jumped, so that's nice. Okay, intensive agriculture has been unlocked. That's probably a really good thing for us. So we can take our maize farms down to soil enriching farming, and that's going to be low productivity for now, but we're still going to do it. Anything else that we can change? Well, not really. We don't have that many types of buildings at this moment. So that's absolutely a bit of an issue. Atmospheric engine is what's spreading now. Okay, sounds good. So we're almost certainly going to pass dedicated police force on this next roll here in 70 days. So let's let that tick on forward and get that finished. That really needs to be our primary goal right now. Frederick Douglass was just exiled by the United States. He is a modernist. This guy is supporting the liberal movement, and his ideology is Democrat. So I think we'll keep this agitator for right now. I think that's fine. Frederick Douglass wouldn't be a terrible agitator to bring in either, but I doubt that our cultural laws would allow it. So that seems fine for the moment. So dedicated police force is very likely to pass here. This is going to improve our penalties from turmoil. So that'll be great. Per capita taxation is now unlocked. Okay. We'll check into that after public schools, I think. So the idea here is we pass dedicated police force, then we pass public schools, then we pass a taxation law. That would be the dream. We'll see if it ends up happening. So for now, we've got a 85% chance in just 18 days here. That looks good. We're up to 138K, almost 139K population. Wow, look at that. 4.47 now. Ooh, we're definitely starting to see the bend in this curve. I like it. That's a really good thing. That's a really, really good thing. We need a lot more population. So we now have dedicated police force. That's perfect. So next what we need to do, of course, is we need to go for public schools here. So 13 and 12, huh? 14% chance of advance, 60% chance of debate. So this is better than even odds, but not by a huge amount. But we're going to go for it anyway. So we're going to try to pass this, and we'll see what this ends up looking like. Pretty much exactly what we expected as of right now. Okay, so that is fine. The Hudson Bay Company left the British Empire? No, they didn't. Okay. I was going to say, that's kind of wild. But no, they did not do that. So we can see here that we're at 48.6% literacy. I want to check into some of these locations here. So if we look into information, I want to look at our literacy here. Yeah, Great Britain enforcing military access. Where's our literacy at? Did I miss it? This is our education access here. It's definitely in here somewhere. That's exciting. I'm completely blind, I think. I'm not seeing the literacy here. Well, that's exciting. Let's check in over here and see if we can find it in this list. We see the education access right here. Oh, it's up here. Right, I'm dumb. Okay, so 42.4 in Wisconsin, 48.7 in Minnesota, 48.8 now, 45.4, 50.5, 56.9, and 49.1. So we are definitely doing well on the literacy, even in Ohio. So at this point, what I want to do is I want to get rid of this. So that will get us some additional authority, and that authority is unfortunately going to go into consumption taxes. I would prefer not to put this into consumption taxes, but here we are. Liberal movement is organizing in Minnesota, and that is probably a very good thing, actually. We're going to take that. That sounds excellent. We want the liberal movement to be doing stuff. We also want the modernization movement to be doing stuff. Both of these are good political movements for us. So that sounds good. We are currently net negative financially. This is fine. We've got a fair amount of gold reserves at the moment. I'm not too concerned about it. Our GDP is continuing to wildly swing around as market conditions allow. Honestly, with an agrarian economy, that kind of makes sense to me because we would be at our peak productivity at harvest time, right? So yeah, that kind of makes sense. So that's fine for the moment, and we'll see what happens on this first public schools roll here. So this is actually boosted up a little bit. Not significantly. 15% on advance, 13 on success, and then 58 on debate. So what we're hoping to do here is pull chance out of the debate into the success roll. Let's see what happens here. Only a 12% chance of a straight up bad roll, but what do we get? Okay, so this is a debate. The opposition members are putting forth their demands. And I think that's probably fine. I don't think that we're going to take a setback here. We're going to acquiesce to their demands. The modernists aren't going to be happy about this, but that's understood. So we're going to bump that up to a 23%, and that came out of the debate chance. It did not come out of the advanced chance. So that's fantastic. We now have a 38% chance of a good roll, and then a 48% chance of a 50-50 roll, and then an 11% chance of stall. So that sounds good. The modernists are, of course, not quite as happy anymore, but, you know, it'll be fine. So our GDP is continuing to plummet, as happens. That's understood. And for the moment, that's reasonably fine. Once we get public schools passed, that will be a good thing. And I want to come in here and see about bringing this all the way up to here. So we're going to bump this up to level 4. That will reduce our state penalties from turmoil, which eventually will be good, but I don't know if that's actually affecting our consumption taxes. It may or it may not. So that's definitely noted. Like, we can see we're making 620 from consumption taxes here. And that's understood. We have very little tax income. Very little any income. This is a really rough start, to be honest. Very low population, extremely backwards laws. Politics is very awkward to start with as well, although it does give some opportunities a little bit later on. So that's certainly interesting, but we're making gains. We've almost tripled our population since we started at this point, and we're up to 4.52 annual projected growth. So that's looking very, very solid. We're working on pan-nationalism here still, 11 years left on that. That's going to take a very long time, and that is absolutely understood. So atmospheric engine is being spread to us. Power of the purse, very mediocre. And in society, it is what? Banking. That's actually good. We don't care about the loan interest rate since our loan interest rate is apparently 0, but the minting, that would be really useful to us. That'd be really useful. When are we going to get this? 9 to 16 months? Okay, that seems pretty good. So we had a good first roll on public schools, and let's see how this ends up proceeding here in another 45 days. It's still likely going to come through as a debate, and if we can get more chance into success, that would be fantastic. I'd love to see the success around 40 to 50%. But we'll see what happens here. We've got a pretty decent chance of passing this. The real question is, will it pass within this time frame, right? 3 years, 6 months. We shall see. That'll be interesting. So for now, our literacy is continuing to head upwards, although it looks like it's kind of flattening out its trajectory here, maybe. We're at about 50%, but that's a big reason why I want to pass public schools here, is to increase education access. So that sounds fine for now. Unfortunately, our phase durations are pretty long, and this is, of course, because our government is unacceptable, and that's understood. We need to get onto some sort of a democracy, ideally. Okay, so we hit debate again here. Minus 15% enactment time. Okay, we'll take that. So that's not fantastic, but it does shorten the phases by 15%. So that's understood. Now, looking back at our industrialists, they're back down to a 3% clout at this moment. They're currently trending downwards, but we're working our way up here. We've got 181 of them now. So we're making some gains there. They're not very happy, of course. In fact, they're not very happy at all, but that's fine. We don't actually mind that. So that is okay. We want to see the industrialists get up to 5%. So that would be great. What are we doing for peasants right now? Oh, we have 8.87k peasants. Where? Where are these peasants located? 0.62, 5.43k. So a big chunk of them in Wisconsin. Okay. So in Wisconsin, I would like to get some sort of a building going here. 0.28k versus 0.2. We could build a livestock ranch. 0.48k for a sulfur mine, 0.4k and 0.66k. Logging camp it is. Okay, so we're going to actually construct this. And that's going to take some time. Minus 42.4% construction efficiency. It's going to be painful. No doubt about it. But we need to get that built, because we need to get those peasants put to work. So that'll be fine. We'll run this for a while, but it's going to be expensive, and that's absolutely understood. So we've got about 80 days on this next public schools phase. Looks fine for now. Checking in on our population growth, up over 4.5k. Nice. We're getting close to 5k annual population growth. That's looking good. So of this, how much is our construction goods? Okay, noted. Our finances are rough. Incredibly, incredibly rough. So that is 100% noted. I don't think there's any reason to not go into debt to get these peasants put to work, though, so we're going to do that. And of course, we're working our way up on our law enforcement, slowly but steadily. So that seems reasonably fine for now. And I want to just double check that we still have... Okay. We now have an interest rate. Roger that. We can't construct this. So now that we have an interest rate, that is a significant problem for us. Okay. That is very, very rough. Our law enforcement investment went up. That's nice. So that's definitely a thing. But the fact that we're running a deficit right now is not great at all. 87.3 of this is interest. This is quite bad, actually. Now that we do have an interest rate, that's very good to know that we have one of those now. So let's see what happens with public schools here. 3, 2, 1, and debate again. Okay. Minus 15% enactment time again. I mean, we're down to 120 days on these, but we're not actually getting any movements on our success chance, and that's not ideal. So can we refocus any of these consumption tax? Probably. I'm going to remove these two, and we're going to potentially... Actually, I'm going to remove all of these consumption taxes for the time being. So where's that going to put us at? 878. I mean, it's going to be painful. We don't really want to be doing consumption taxes up here, right? So we could do a consumption tax on opium. We can just go through these 50s here. This is what I would normally want to do, is go through these and put consumption taxes on this stuff. But we're going to have a pretty big deficit if we do this, right? So that is problematic for us, no doubt about that, because we're not making much out of any of this. So we're net negative 667, and our interest is going to be building up. This is going to snowball. This is going to be a significant problem. So how do we want to handle that? Well, I want to come into our government administration in Indiana. We're at 4.4K here. You can see this is where the majority of our government expenses are going. So that's understood, and this is on minimum government wages. Disgusting. Absolutely gross. I'm not sure that there's too much that we can do about it, though, to be honest. This is going to raise our standard of living by not having the consumption tax on grain, but it's significantly going to hurt our purse. But, I mean, we could always just do another bankruptcy. It may be necessary. We'll see what happens. So, we're still working on public schools here. Our phases are faster at this point. So that's, you know, something. But I would really like to see debate chance moving into success chance. That's what we really want to see here. We've got 2 years and 11 months on this petition. And we would love for this to actually happen, but the modernists will be very upset if it doesn't happen. We're trying, modernists. We're trying. A couple of awkward rolls there. We got one good roll to start with, 2 awkward rolls. I'm not going to call them bad rolls. I'm going to call it awkward that we got that twice in a row, but it might not be a terrible thing that we reduced the phase time, right? That's not the worst thing in the world. So that's absolutely okay for now, and let's see what happens here in about 30 days. Checking in on our pop growth, 4.78, okay. That is going up quickly now. That's very, very good. Our literacy is still chilling at about 50%. It is slowly increasing still, so that is absolutely fine. Checking in on Indiana here, we are going to be hitting our cap of government employees here eventually. So that's absolutely something to note. Our finances will stop getting worse eventually, but that interest, that's probably going to be built up too much by then. We'll see. So public schools, let's see what happens in 2, 1, stall, huh? We could take a setback. That was a bad luck roll. That was only a 13% chance to happen. So that is unfortunate. Very, very sad. So we've had 1 good roll, 1 bad roll, and 2 awkward rolls. And considering this is timed, we would very much like to start rolling somewhat better on this. That'd be great. So our number of radicals is declining. This is because our standard of living is coming up because we're no longer consumption taxing grain, right? That's the primary reason why our standard of living is rising. So that's understood. Our main issue right now is that we have a fair amount of credit, and we're going to build up a fair amount more of that. Our interest is absolutely going to kill us at this point if we build up debt. And we're building up debt, and there's not much we can do about it at this moment. In fact, there's very, very little we can do about it. If we cut our taxes down to here, that would cost us some money, but it would gain us more legitimacy. And it wouldn't cost us that much money. The legitimacy means that we can roll on this faster. So 10 legitimacy brings us up to contested 65. That's actually way higher than 10. Okay, that must have changed at some point. Okay, so we're going to have faster phase times here now. That sounds good. And we'll see what happens here. And yes, we're running a pretty hefty deficit at this moment, and there's not much we can do about that. Other than just hope we grow out of it or declare bankruptcy again. Those are basically the options. So we passed up to amendment this time. Okay. It's not amazing, but it's fine. We definitely have way faster phase durations. So that's nice. Excellent. So, I mean, this is minus 20 legitimacy, so this is a swing of 20 and then a swing of 10, so a swing of 30 total legitimacy. That does explain this swing. Okay, so we went from 35 to 65, although now it's 66. So that seems absolutely fine for the moment. Our political movements I'm pretty happy with at this moment, so that's not really a significant issue. What we need is to actually pass public schools. We could pass it in 2 more rolls. There's a 24% chance and then a second 24% chance of that. It's kind of unlikely, so we shall see. To be clear, I wouldn't be prioritizing public schools if we didn't have this petition. We would absolutely be working right now on some sort of fiscal policy, because that is very necessary. But we don't really have the option at this moment. We are kind of forced into this politically. So 2 days, 1 day, and passed into voting. Okay, that's a good sign. We'll see what happens here. Of course, we're not so happy about our financial situation here. It's going to be grim. Great Britain is enforcing military access. Okay. Power of the purse, not relevant to us at this moment. So that's understood. So the real question is, do we manage to pass public schools on a 23% success chance? That would be kind of remarkable. We would definitely like that. Hudson Bay is improving relations with us. That's good. And I mean, we're going heavily into debt here, and that's fully understood. We basically knew that this was going to happen. We are sacrificing other things for this. So the question is, if we're going to declare bankruptcy anyway, what's the cooldown on that? Well, we have to be in default. Okay. So how long do we have on this at this point? 4 years? Okay. So that seems fine for now. Let's see what happens with public schools. Debate success? Okay. So we just went up to 33% success chance. That's good. And this should have come primarily out of the debate chance. Yeah, it looks like it pulled 4 out of the advanced chance and then 6 out of the debate chance. So that's fine. We've now got a 33% chance of passing public schools. After we get this done, I want to see what our options are for some sort of a fiscal policy. We definitely need something along those lines. But we are just about up to 150k, so that's nice. There we go. Industrialists are at 5.1% clout. Beautiful. So now we've got road to progress, 20% loyalists from political movements, or 2% interest group approval and interest group pop attraction for the industrialists. We're going to take loyalists from political movements, I think. No, I'm actually going to go with the interest group attraction for industrialists. I still want more of that. So industrialists are unhappy. That's not surprising. And we want them to be fairly mobilized at this point. So let's see what happens with public schools here. It is about time to put a cut in here, but I'm going to wait until after we get this roll. I mean, there's a pretty decent chance that we manage to pass this right here. It's a 33% chance. So let's see what happens here. We've got about 10 days on that. And are we going to crest 150? Well, very soon, but not for a little bit yet. Growing by 4.89k annually. Nice. Okay. 2, 1, and there we go. Public schools passes. Perfect. That's exactly what we want to see. So can we bump up our education institutions? No, but that is giving us more education access. Beautiful. So at this point, we're on interventionism. That's fine. We can't change our taxation. We can't change our distribution of power. We actually have a pretty good chance at parliamentary republic. Let's get going on that, at least. Okay, so it is time to put that cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to see if we can pass Parliamentary Republic. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.